time to make the dough. First thing I'm going to do is weigh out our most of our dry ingredients. I have unbleached, all-purpose white flour, and I'm going to need 957 grams. Go. The great thing about using a scale is you don't have to dirty a bunch of bowls or measuring cups or measuring spoons. All I had to do was press the button to tare, it's back to 0, and now I can measure out 39 grams of granulated sugar. Go. Next is butter. The rest of that butter that we used a few minutes ago, I'll use for this. Not the whole thing, because I just need 28 grams of butter for this. So I tare again. Close. Perfect, 28. And the last of the dry ingredients that we'll put in to the dry ingredient bowl is our salt, and I'm using fine sea salt, and we need 16 grams. Go. Okay, our dry ingredients are finished. Now it's time to measure our wet ingredients. We're going to use the same bowl we used to make the butter block. Didn't clean out the butter, it's not necessary. It just adds a little extra richness to the dough. I'm going to add 2 whole eggs. And then I'm going to tare that, and I'm going to add 454 grams of water at approximately 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And I went over a little bit, that's not a problem. I'll just scoop a little bit out. There we go. Perfect. Next is our dry milk powder. I use Hoosier Hill Farm non-fat milk powder. You can use whole milk powder, doesn't matter. Tare. And we want 28 grams. I'm going to get a spoon, that'll make it go in a little easier. There we go, we're at 28 grams. Last but not least is our instant yeast. Preferably use an osmotolerant yeast, such as this Safe Instant Gold, but you can use another instant yeast such as the Safe Instant Red Pack. Either is fine. We need 12 grams of yeast. The main difference with osmotolerant instant yeast and regular instant yeast is osmotolerant works particularly well with sweet doughs such as a croissant dough, but it's not a big deal if you just have regular instant yeast. So now I have all of the wet ingredients in and I'm ready to go to the mixer. Now we're ready to mix the dough. So I've got my wet ingredients in the mixer bowl. And this time I'm going to use the dough hook. I'm going to just mix this very briefly for about 30 seconds to combine the wet ingredients and get the yeast starting to activate. I'm going to have this on speed 1. That'll help it break up the eggs and combine everything. Okay, we've been mixing the wet ingredients for about 30 seconds. Now it's time to add the flour. I'm going to add it in batches with the mixer off so that it doesn't go everywhere. Just briefly pulse it at 1. Start combining. Now that it's started to do that, I can start adding the rest. I think I'll just tip the last bit. Now this will need to mix for about 4 to 5 minutes until it's well combined, smooth, and comes away from the side of the bowl. In the meantime, while that's working, I'm going to butter this bowl that I used for the dry ingredients because this is what we're going to rise the dough in. I just have a little bit of butter in here and I'm just going to smear it around with a paper towel. Get it all over it. And there we go. Okay, it's been about 4 to 5 minutes. The dough looks good. Now it's time to knead the dough and then let it rise. Let me show you what it looks like. It has pulled away. It's looking nice and supple. I can very easily just pull it off of the dough hook. Okay, so now we are ready to knead this. First of all, contrary to what you may be used to, do not put any flour onto your work surface. We do not need to add any extra flour at this stage. So I've just got another one of my handy dandy scrapers, got it out. Now what we're going to do is knead this very briefly. You don't want to develop too much gluten at this stage because we're going to be doing a lot of rolling and folding and rolling and folding, and more gluten will develop then. But if we knead it too long at this stage, then we could end up with tough croissants. So we just want to knead it briefly in order to get it nice and smooth. So I'm just pulling it, folding, pushing, folding back, pushing, folding back. I'm just going to do that, and then maybe we'll go with the other arm, try it that way, fold it around, and again from this side. I'm afraid I'm pretty strongly right-handed, so it's easier for me to do it with my right hand rather than switching back and forth. And that's okay, you don't have to use both hands. Okay, I'd say a little bit more. Okay, this should be good. It's soft, it's pretty smooth. Now all we need to do, put it top down in your buttered bowl so you get some butter on the top, then turn it over, set it on your countertop, and leave it for 30 minutes.